What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. So I want to come through right quick and just talk about a situation that happened a minute ago, but a situation with Jeannie Mai, being on the reel and talking about submission and that, she's making a statement here and now that she will submit, to Jeezy when they are married. All right. And off the bat, I'll just ask a general question. Do you think that submission should come with marriage, or there should be submission regardless of marriage? You know, is that would that be used as perhaps like, oh, if you get married, then you get submission, somewhat of an incentive to marry? Just wondering. Um, but yeah, Jeannie Mai came through and she said, well, she said she's gonna submit to Jeezy, her black king. All right. And like, see, that's how she getting the wedding ring, because she know what black kings want, right? And folks is using this, as a way to get at black women and low key shame black women and being like, this is why, Jeannie Mai took a good, strong black man, took a strong black king from you black women. See, this is what you get. You got all that mouth, being a disrespectful, wayward wife. This is what the law gonna punish you with, right? And I do feel like Jeannie Mai kind of shares a bit too much about her relationship with Jeezy. I think she might be speaking a little too soon on some things, but if she's happy, I'm happy for Jeannie. Being happy. She found a good situation for herself. That's great. That's wonderful. But I just don't feel like Jeannie Mai should be used by black men and maybe even some black women to shame black women. I don't think we need to be making comparisons like that, because one, it's just, generally speaking, it's just, disrespectful as well. I'm not sure, I don't really think all black men are offering what Jeezy is offering Jeannie Mai. Um, Also, I don't see Asian women using Jeezy to shame Asian men. I don't see that, at least not publicly. I don't see that. Now, what happens behind closed doors, we don't know. But I don't see that, you know. And as well, Jeannie Mai somewhat got to come up because has more of a net worth than Jeannie Mai does. And, that's great for Jeannie. That's great for Jeannie Dark Meat on the side Mai. All right. Because at one point, the dark meat was on the side, aka the black dudes were on the side, and the white meat, aka the white men, were the main course. Now, folks getting all excited because Jeannie Mai done switched up the meal a little bit, and now the dark meat is the main course, and folks acting like black men and black people done won the lottery and came up in life because Jeannie Mai has decided to make them the main dish, the main course. And it does show that sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes a lot of black folks do crave non-black validation, you know. And I noticed in the community, in the black community, this relationship seemingly is being celebrated and championed for one reason or another. And I'm like, well, this is an interracial relationship. I don't know why this should be being celebrated and championed. Because if it was, a black woman in the position, I don't think the community would be celebrating and championing it. I think a segment of black women would, and that would be a segment of black women, but not in general, though. So I do find that a bit strange as well, where we as a community, we do kind of flip and flop when it comes to, oh, are interracial relationships good? Oh, they're good. Black men, yeah. Black woman, right? And black men and black women both do it. You know, as far as like, oh, you know, what's good and what's bad when it comes to interracial relationships, and shaming some folks who do it and not shaming others who do it, and making excuses, this, that, and the third. Ultimately, if you want to swirl, swirl till you hurl. Just leave black men and black women out of your mouth, you know. Really, it should be leave black women or black men out of your mouth when you do it, you know. If it's so great in Swirl World and Swirltopia, that's wonderful. I'm happy for you. I'm happy you found a good situation in Swirltopia, and I'm happy that you're living happily ever after. If that is truly the case, you know, I'm happy for you. But just make sure you don't bash black people, black women, or black men in the process. And just be happy with the Swirltopia. You know, just be happy with your new life in Swirltopia. That's all. But folks don't want to do that for some reason. You know. And, you know, I do notice that, you know, sometimes when it comes to speaking on black issues and being in an interracial relationship, folks are a bit more open when it comes from a black man than a black woman. You know, when it comes to like, oh, problems, criticisms, you know, things like that. Folks are more open and receptive coming from a black man who's in an interracial relationship versus a black woman for some reason, right? And as well, you know, then we got that whole thing about, oh, you know, if the father is black, then the children are black. You know, forget about black women being involved in it. You know, and some black women even want to champion that, you know, false ideology for some reason. You know, I guess maybe they just like, you know, black men's biracial kids and just want to have a reason to claim them and, you know, love them, live vicariously through them. You know, and you can still do those things without claiming them as black, specifically black, you know. But I'll bring it back to the situation with Jeannie Mai and young Jeezy, because their situation, they don't have kids, so it's a bit different, you know, at least not right now. But yeah, I do see folks using this situation to shame black women. And, you know, on the real, you know, Lonnie sort of had some bit of a pushback with, was pushing back a bit on what Jeannie Mai said. And folks came after Lonnie because, you know, Lonnie is just the easiest target. You know, she is the blackest of the folks there. She is the biggest of the folks there. And folks probably view her as the least attractive of the folks there, you know, women there. Even though Adrian pushed back and Garcia pushed back. I think that's how you say her name. The lady from the Jamie Foxx show, right? Even though they all push back, but you know, Lonnie, they just like, let's go after Lonnie, and because Lonnie's in an interracial relationship at the moment, you know, with a non-black man, right? So it's like, you know, this is your problem, Lonnie. This is why you ain't got a black cane now. You know, folks like to go after Lonnie, you know, because, you know, she's just the easiest target to go after, right? You know, and folks, I heard saying that she got herself a bottom shelf Brad. I'm not sure of his net worth. I heard it was like somewhat decent. It may not be as much as Lonnie's, but I guess seemingly he's able to take her out on dates and, you know, pay for things and take her on nice trips or whatever, assumably, you know. So it may be something that could be worked out, at least, where it's like, you know, she's dating down, but she doesn't have to like pay the tab, you know, like with Mariah Carey and Nick Cannon, where it was like technically Mariah Carey dated down, but Nick Cannon got a lot of money still, not as much as Mariah, so I'm pretty sure Nick Cannon could still wine and dine and take Mariah on nice trips and buy her nice gifts and things like that, right? So maybe, you know, it could work out, you know. But yeah, they were saying that, you know, Lonnie Love got herself a bottom shelf Brad, and she acting brand new now. But the thing is, though, if Lonnie Love were dating black men and got herself like a bottom shelf Tyrone or something, right? Like, I don't think black folks would not be quick to bring that up. I don't think black folks would be so quick to bring that up. When the black women date down like Monique, Jill Scott, Sherry Shepherd, Mary J. Blige, etc., folks ain't so quick to bring that up. All of a sudden, the money ain't everything. All of a sudden, money shouldn't be the main focus. Oh, it's about black love, things like that. And I'm not saying that love isn't important and love doesn't, shouldn't be a factor at all and all that good stuff. And yes, yes, yes. But the standards seem to drop drastically, though, for some reason, right? When it comes to, the black man ain't bringing home the bacon as much as the black woman is. Well, it doesn't always have to be like that, And then it's like, we can think of 1,001 excuses for that. But then when it's like the non-black man, seemingly the standards go a lot higher. Like, they go up a lot higher, right? And I don't knock black women for having high standards for non-black men. I think that they should. I think that ultimately the standards should just go across the board, though. But for some reason, I think that when it comes to socialization, I think a lot of times black women and just black people as a whole are socialized to have lower standards for black men for some reason and just excuse a lot of the stuff, the BS for some reason. And, the black love is, ideas heavily pushed on black women. Like, they got to keep it together. They got to hold it down for black love. They got to hold down the black family. If the black family breaks apart, it's your fault, black woman. Right? So, yeah. But ultimately, I made this video just to say, hey, don't use Jeannie Mai to shame black women. Because I don't think it's just not right. And still, I feel like that sort of stuff should just be like done behind closed doors, not done publicly on social media. As well as I mentioned earlier in this video, I don't see Asian women using Jeezy to shame Asian men, at least not publicly, right? Because they're staying on code, and I think black people as a whole need to understand the idea of code, not just when it comes to black men and their dirty laundry, but also black women and their dirty laundry as well. I think we all need to learn how to stay on code for both genders, not just one, right? Also, another thing, does he represent black men? Do you feel like that's the best representative for black men? Because I do think it's a bit odd that in this case, Jeezy is just the typical black man, right? And, in other cases, if Jeezy were with, say, Sierra, I feel like Sierra, if Sierra went from Future to Jeezy, I think that Sierra would be shamed, even though people were still going at Sierra for going from Future to Russell Wilson. Like either way, Sierra could not redeem herself. Even if she did, like, I made a mistake. I should have chosen better. Let me course correct. Let me rectify that. No. Once a mistake, always a mistake. Right? So I think Jeezy would be considered technically either a thug, a gangster, or like a reformed thug or gangster, Pookie Ray Ray type, as some people put it. And it's like, if Jeezy is doing positive, then he is the representative for all black men that ever existed. If he is doing negative, then he is just merely the representative of thugs, gangsters, Pookies, and Ray Rays, whether reformed or not. Right? And it's like, well, should Pookies and Ray Rays, thus gangsters, really be a part of the community to begin with? Should we find a way to remove those people from the community? Because I noticed that when it comes to actually getting down to it and talking about removing those folks from the community, you know, all of a sudden, the black community, especially black men, it's like, no, it's like 1,001 excuses about not removing the seemingly undesirable black men from the community for some reason or another. It's like the community really hesitates to remove seemingly problematic black men, but on the other hand, when it comes to black women being problematic, I think that folks are quicker, to remove and get rid of undesirable black women versus undesirable black men. The black man, he can redeem himself somehow. It's excuses for him. He the victim of white supremacy. He grew up with a single mama, y'all. It's his single mama fault. It's the white man fault too. He ain't had nothing to do with that. He ain't got no choice but to do what his single mama and the white man say to do, or else. Don't blame him for that. He ain't supposed to be taking no responsibility for things like that. Yeah, right. So, I just find that a bit odd too. Like, Jeezy is now like the representative for the typical black man. But again, it's positive, so the folks will run with it when it's positive. When it's negative, folks, he a pookie, he a thug, he a gangster, nuh-uh. And now we got to individualize and contextualize and all that good stuff, right? Yeah. And again, ultimately, folks gonna do what they want to do, but really just like leave black women out of it, because folks want to make videos like, oh, Jeannie Mai says she gonna submit to Jeezy, and guess who's mad? And then show an angry black woman in the thumbnail looking at Jeezy and Jeannie Mai, right? Like, oh, Reggie Bush said this is how the black community should be, and guess who's mad? Right? I do see sometimes it's like, folks know what to do to push black women's buttons because they want the clicks, the views, the ad revenue money, the comments in the comment section and all that stuff, and maybe even some subscribers, right? Yeah. And for black women, that's just something that black women have to, as well, take into consideration too, when it comes to responding to some things where it's like, okay, is this worth responding to sometimes? Sometimes it's not even worth it. Consider the messenger. Like, look who it's coming from. It's not even coming from like a reputable, reliable, upstanding person. A lot of the times, it's coming from like a bum, like a crumb bum. Do you really care what a crumb bum scrub gotta say? Just asking, just wondering. But I'll bring the video to a close. Thanks for watching, y'all. Feel free to comment. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.